I'll be talking about Deadpool and Wolverine, starring Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds and directed by Sean Levy. I realize I'm getting to this review a little late, but I have thoughts on the movie and I wanted to share them. I had a lot of anticipation going into this movie. Huge fan of the first two films. Really curious to see what they were going to do on this third installment. I was pleasantly surprised. There were a ton of laughs, some really fun interactions between the two lead characters, and a lot of fun cameos by people that I did not expect to see in this movie. Now, one thing that I think people going into this movie should understand is this is not necessarily a huge step forward for the MCU. What this film actually does, more importantly, is it's almost a love letter to the Marvel films that came before Disney purchased Marvel, the films that were produced out of the Fox studio as well as New Line Cinema, films that gave us the original X-Men franchise, lesser films like Daredevil and Elektra, and the Blade trilogy that came out of New Line Cinema, as well as characters that were developed back in those early days that never quite saw the light of day. So you get a little of all of that in this movie, and while it's not totally embracing what the MCU has to offer, it is a really fun sort of look backwards to see where the Marvel universe sort of began in terms of cinema. Now, the action sequences often felt superfluous in terms of how they move the story forward. This happens a couple times in the film, especially when it comes to Deadpool and Wolverine hashing out their differences in protracted action sequences set to really fun needle drop music. This happens a couple times in the movie, and I did find it a bit exhausting after a while. And I was also a little disappointed with the overall stakes of the action sequences, with the exception of one second act sequence where they have to get Juggernaut's helmet and put it on the head of the lead villain of the film. The rest of the action sequences don't necessarily push the plot forward, and it feels a little bit like we're treading water. The film's really violent, and as I've mentioned before, I'm a fan of violence in movies. I felt some of this knife-wielding, claw-wielding action got a bit exhausting for me. What I did love most about the film was the interaction between Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman as Deadpool and Wolverine. You know, great contrast between characters results in great comedy. And these two characters are so different in their stylistic approach to their roles that seeing them play together on screen is really just so fun to watch. Hugh Jackman as Wolverine is so angry, and it's easy to see how a character like Deadpool could quickly get under his skin and really just rile him up. And it's just fun to see those two characters bounce off each other, and the chemistry and the sparks that erupt between those two characters is really fun and refreshing. I did like a lot of the music choices in the film, especially the Madonna Like a Prayer sequence towards the third act. And while that action sequence, again, feels a little unnecessary, it is really saved by the music choice. And then the callback to that Madonna song when Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds embrace to do the big thing that they need to do at the end of the movie to save the world. You know, I've been humming the song ever since. It's really one of these movie moments that stays with you, and you just kind of puzzle it through again and again in your head because it's just so fun to remember that moment. The cameos, as I said, really fun. Seeing Wesley Snipes again reprising his role as Blade, seeing Jennifer Garner come back as Elektra, and the big surprise for me, seeing Channing Tatum introduced as Gambit for the first time. To me, his portrayal of that character, the fake French accent, the whole thing, one of the funniest parts of the movie for me, and I just found myself laughing every time he opened his mouth. It was also really nice to see the return of Daphne Keane as X-23, Wolverine's clone/daughter, and the chemistry between those two, which worked so well in Logan, and to see her and Hugh Jackman once again reunited on screen was really a nice emotional lift for the film. And to me, I found their relationship to be so compelling, and it was just really satisfying to see them get to play together and get to be together at the end of the film. Those are my thoughts on Deadpool and Wolverine. What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comment section. Hit like and subscribe. See you soon.